What's up, guys? My name is JDCut5 and welcome to the review of the Chelsea versus Bournemouth game as Chelsea snatched a late equaliser to be able to secure a point at home against the Cherries in a 2-2 draw. Before we do get into the video, if you haven't done so already, please hit that like button, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that notification button so you never miss a video. Over 80% of you are currently unsubscribed to the channel, so if you can do so, it's completely free and it would help me out a massive bunch. So Chelsea 2, Bournemouth 2. I'll run you through the game events before I really get into things and start making my opinion on the game. We started fairly brightly, in fairness, a lot of direct movement to be able to kind of get ourselves in a decent position. And it looked to be, for the first sort of 10 minutes, we were really up for it, in fairness, which was a good start to the game. We kind of didn't really allow Bournemouth to be able to kind of get on the ball whatsoever and really try and make our statement on the game itself. And that's what I really liked about our start, in fairness. It was just about being able to kind of get the right moment in time, and that's exactly what happened as Nicholas Jackson passed through to Cole Palmer, and he was able to kind of make a little shimmy to the keeper. He fell to the floor, and it was a simple finish into the back of the net to make it 1-0. Plenty of chances in the first half, in fairness. The referee was making some questionable decisions, but don't they always? But yeah, it was a very strange half after that, because I felt like we let off a little bit. Bournemouth had one moment where they hit the post, and then we went up the other end and hit the post. We did have plenty of opportunities to be able to realistically say that we could have gone in at half time, maybe 2-3-0 up, in fairness. Definitely a 1-0 game after having 13 chances on goal in the first half compared to their one is definitely kind of not kind of acceptable to that degree. Second half, he just didn't really come out. It looked like we were a completely different team in the second half. Lavia makes a massive mistake and they go into the box, and it was either you make the tackle and give away the penalty, or they have the shot and pretty much be a goal. And unfortunately, the penalty was given after Moises Caicedo clattered into one of the Bournemouth players to give away the penalty, and Justin Kluivert puts it to the wrong side of Robert Sanchez, and we're sitting at a 1-1 game. Maresca made a change literally about 6 minutes after that as Reece James came on for Romeo Lavia. Lavia had an absolute stinker today, might I say. He was so poor. But moving further forward, in the 68th minute, Semeno, he scored a very good goal. I'm not a fan of keepers obviously conceding at their near post, but he scored a very good goal, I have to say. He's been on form for Bournemouth recently, and it was thanks to Ryan Christie for the assist also. But before that, we have to mention the red card incident. We really do. What in any sort of mind is there any point of VAR when the referee makes decisions like that? Like, the evidence is there. It's clear. You don't have to take time. You don't have to sit and watch it for 5 minutes. It's ridiculous. It's quite clear to see the ball's not even in his path. He is nowhere near the ball. It's a red card. I'm sorry, if that was a Chelsea player, I reckon he's off, and that's it. For David Brooks to only have a yellow is absolutely pathetic. The FA are just corrupt to nothing, and they have always had an agenda against us, whether people like to see it or not. And making kind of it quite clear with decisions like that, it's just absolutely shambolic. It really is. We were lucky. We were lucky. We were lucky that we hit them on the break at one moment in the 90 where we was able to claim a free kick. It could have been a penalty. But they called it for a free kick back on the original moment, and luckily for ourselves, up came Reece James and a fantastic free kick past Mark Travers to make it 2-2, and unfortunately that was all she wrote in that tie. But the substitutions after that were really strange, in fairness, from Maresca. I mean, Tosin came on in the 71st minute for Josh Akpong. We're bringing on a centre-back for a centre-back. And then João Felix and Pedro Neto only had 9 minutes left to really kind of do something in the tie, which is just not good enough. It's just not enough time to be able to make an impact. First half, yeah, good. I can't really fault us. We hit the post, had plenty of chances, but second half, we just wasn't good enough. Looking at the stats, we were dominated on possession, 57% to their 43. We had 26 shots on goal. Let that sink in. 26 shots on goal, only 10 on target, compared to Bournemouth 7 and 3 on target, and they scored 2 of them. That just goes to show how poor we are in front of goal right now. And if we don't need a striker, then I don't know what we need, in fairness. We need a goalkeeper, we need a new striker, and we need a leader. There is no discipline in this side whatsoever. Players running their mouth off to their own teammates and being able to kind of moan about different decisions made in the game is not good enough. Moments where there's VAR calls and the captain is just standing there with his hands on his hips, it is not good enough. There is no one pulling this team together. If Maresca can't do it, someone on the pitch needs to do it. And it's clear to see that we've got a team of kids. And that is where we're lacking. Yes, they're talents. Yes, they're prospects. But if they can't pull together on the pitch, then what have we got to do? Wait until a little bit older? I'm not too sure. It's very questionable, a lot of things that are going on at Chelsea Football Club at this moment in time. 5 league games without a win now, may I add, also, which is very concerning. Very concerning. I just don't know where we go from here in terms of game management and so on. Maresca seems to want to play a way of football that just doesn't suit us, in my opinion, with Robert Sanchez always giving the ball away. Always giving the ball away. Poor distribution. The lack of urgency, the lack of want, the lack of will. There was only 2 players on that pitch today that wanted to play, and that was Reece James and Cole Palmer. It was as simple as that. Nobody wanted it. Nobody cared. And that's the difference. And we were really lucky. You could say, oh yeah, but we should have scored X amount of goals in the first half, so we weren't lucky to get a draw. We were, because we didn't get the goals. Arsenal played against Man United on the weekend, and you could have definitely said that Arsenal should have won that game with the chance they did, but they didn't. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about chances. It doesn't matter of if, buts and maybes. Yes, they should have been down to 10 men, but they weren't. Get on with it. It's an awful call, and it's a scandalous call, and we've had a fair few calls against us recently, and I have to say that with VAR it doesn't matter at the moment, because some of the calls that are being made against us, probably from the Everton game to the Ipswich game to here we are now, yes, it's been poor, but our performance hasn't been good enough in the follow-up. Against Fulham, we went 1-0 up, lost 2-1. Against Everton, we couldn't score a goal. Against Palace, we went 1-0 up, drew 1-1. Against Bournemouth, we went 1-0 up, drew 2-2. Why can we lead games and not finish them off? What are we doing? What is the mindset? Where is it going from here? What do we do? Because I honestly don't see where we go from here. Personally, for the fact is that we are just taking a downward spiral, and the football that we are playing is just frustrating. It really is. There is nothing good about what we see at this moment in time. There's only spits and spouts. You can't play good for one half and poor the next. It doesn't work like that. Maresca's way of football is very questionable, and unfortunately his stubbornness is really starting to wear on a few fans, in fairness. I don't understand the calls for him to be out, because at the end of the day, that's very harsh. It is very harsh. Yes, he makes decisions that I don't particularly agree with. Yes, there's been calls for different things, but at the end of the day, he has done much better compared to previous. But at the same time, if we're basing it off of the last 5 in the league, it's not good enough. It doesn't matter about the game against Morecambe at the end of the day. It was a tin pot game. If anyone wants to say any different, then please put your comments down below, because I'd love to hear why, because no one cares. No one cares about beating Morecambe. We care about now. We care about being in the top 4. We care about getting our club back. And that's where we need to be. And I find ourselves very, very far off of that particular time at this moment. And unfortunately, as I mentioned, with the fixtures that we've got, I think we've got Wolves in our next home game, which is going to be tough. A team that's fighting way down the bottom, and we don't seem to be able to finish teams off. And they've definitely got the capability to score goals against us. That's for sure. And after that, we've got Man City at home. Yes, they drew to Brentford today, but we never have a good record at the Etihad. I think the last time we won there was in 2016 under Antonio Conte. So that goes to show that our kind of, I think our fixtures are against us. We've had winnable games and we haven't won them. It's as simple as that, and that's where we struggle against. I mean, we're playing now an upbeat West Ham on the 3rd of February. That's going to be a tough game. I think anyone can come to Stamford Bridge and get a result, and that's the worrying factor about it. You should always be the stronger side being at home, but I just don't see that being the case at this moment in time. And yeah, as I mentioned, it's very concerning. But let's get into my player ratings, and let's talk about every single player individually in today's game. Going into the player ratings, this was the first 11 that Enzo Maresca fielded for the game against Bournemouth. Robert Sanchez in goal, Cucurella on the left, Colwill and Akpong as the partnering centre-backs, with Caicedo favoured on the right-hand side this time round, with Enzo Fernandez and Lavia in the middle. Sanchez on the left, Noni on the right, Palmer in the middle, and Nicholas Jackson up top. Going from bottom to top for my ratings, I've actually been quite positive about Robert Sanchez in weeks, and kind of been quite annoyed at the hate that he's been getting, but I just don't think I can really have anything to say about his performance today other than it was rubbish. It was absolute rubbish. Couldn't do anything for the 2 goals, don't get me wrong, but apart from everything else, it's pathetic. But the only thing that I can back him up for is this is how Maresca wants to play. And he said that. He's clearly said that. I don't like the way that Sanchez plays, but this is what Maresca wants to do. This is how he wants to play out from the back, have goal kicks where Colwill takes it off and he passes it. It's all pep tactics and it's all a lot of nonsense. I haven't put a rating there, but if I were to give him one, to give him a 5, he was just terrible, absolutely terrible. Cucurella, he was nowhere near good enough today, a 6.2 today. He lost so many balls, misplaced passes, many times where he did retrieve the ball, but other times where he was so far from it. Don't get me wrong, he's been unbelievable this season, but unfortunately one of those games wasn't today, and I can only give him a 6.2. Levi Colwill, he had good moments, don't get me wrong, but again, he was misplacing passes and so on. I feel he made an absolute excellent block near to the end and he hurt himself, and I have to give him a decent rating for that moment. And a 7.1 for Levi. A lot of people are slandering him, and I don't see why, but Josh Akupong, I thought he had a great game, 6.8. I know it's not a high rating, but I didn't think he did that bad at the back, in fairness. It's two young centre-backs that haven't got any experience, as simple as that, and he's trying to do what he can do. And I felt like he played really well when he was there, and I don't think he really made that many mistakes. So 6.8 for Josh. Fair play to him, to be honest. He made some real good driving runs and he really showed some urgency in that back four today, which a lot of people lacked in. And that other person was Moises Caicedo, 6.5. I can't say that I slate Moises as a player because he's been absolutely phenomenal this season, and he's not a right back. It's just quite clear to see he's not a right back. He's not that sort of player, and I'm giving away the penalty also was a bit of a big one, but that was due to the fact of Lavia making a massive mistake. He's not a right back. He's been played out of position. As soon as he folded into the middle after Reece James came on as a right back, it just goes to show that he just suited that role so much more to a T. But only a 6.5 for Moises today. Moving forward to the midfield, we've got Enzo Fernandez and Romeo Lavia. Lavia was terrible. He was absolutely terrible. All this nonsense of retrieving the ball at in dangerous parts of the field and just wanted to shield it. I mean, there was one moment, say, where he got fouled and then it was lucky, and it's just not kind of good play, shall we say. There's nothing about his game that gives me any sort of confidence to why he should be in that midfield week in, week out, and I think it's quite clear to see why Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo have been the pairing throughout the season, and I don't see that changing anytime soon, in fairness, and they probably will go back to a right back, an actual proper right back. But then it goes to show that Reece James isn't fit and he doesn't trust Malo Gusto, because there's nothing wrong with Gusto, but he just hasn't had a good season. Is he good enough? I don't know. Have we spent £1 billion, but what have we got to show for it? We're struggling for fourth. And yes, I'm being harsh, but it's the reality of it all, and unfortunately this is what we're facing. Moving further forward one before I get too negative, Enzo Fernandez, 7.0, had good moments, had bad moments. I can't really say much about his game. People are rating him higher, but I just didn't feel like he was a finished product today. Had some really good moves in the first half, but second half he was completely non-existent. So only a 7.0. Jadon Sancho, 6.7, looks bright on the ball and he probably looks good on a YouTube compilation, but apart from that he was absolutely rubbish today. Just didn't do anything, just doesn't offer us anything. Yes, he's created a lot of assists this season, he scored 2 goals with it, but today he just didn't offer us anything on that left hand side. He doesn't drive it his man, he doesn't put a good ball into the box, he just doesn't do anything for me. And a 6.7 today. Noni Madueke, 5.5. I'm not even going to comment on his performance because he was just absolute shambles. His attitude towards the game is absolutely shambolic, and it's quite recent to see why Enzo Maresca has done him on discipline throughout times in training and so on. I'm just not really going to comment on his game because I'm just going to go too far into it, in fairness. We'll move on further forward. Cole Palmer, 9.0. Without Cole, we'd probably be relegated. It's as simple as that. I just don't see what we offer apart from Cole Palmer. He is absolutely sublime. The boy works so hard to be able to do what he can on the pitch from the minute 1 to the minute 90. Working up and down the pitch, and I've been quite critical as of late, but watching him individually today just goes to show you how much he really does on that pitch, and without the people around him he can't do as much, and his solo effort was absolutely sublime. So 9.0 was my man of the match today. And Nicholas Jackson, I've backed him up so much this season, and I backed him to score 20 goals this season, but I'd be lucky to score 1 for the rest of it. He was absolutely shambles there. I know he hit the post and you can say that was very unlucky, but just doesn't offer us, for such a big striker, there's no presence there. I mean, every single corner there's no one there, every single time there's no in the box there's just no one there. It's just not good enough for what a striker should offer week in, week out. He hasn't scored against since Brentford, and even then he had a poor game. So yeah, back to the drawing board for Jackson, and it's quite clear to see, because of no competition behind him, he knows he's going to play week in, week out, even if he does play poorly. So yeah, there's all talks about people going in January, but realistically, I don't know if the answer is to sign anybody or what, but Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of evaluation to do as a club and so on, and we're nowhere near the finished product, and that's the worrying part. And I feel like we're becoming an Arsenal. We're just going to keep saying we're in a process, we're in a process, we're in a process. But how many times are we going to say that until it gets to a point where it's actually just going to kind of start getting a bit boring now? No wins in five. Wolves next. Let's see what we can do. It's as simple as that. I can't say what's going to happen because we just don't know what we're going to get with Chelsea. It's like basically doing the lottery. You could win or you could lose, and you just don't know at this moment in time. But we'll try. We'll try. Well, I'll try and stay positive, but only can evaluate what's in front of us in that moment in time. But we shall see. We shall see. But that is it for this particular review. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Probably a little bit controversial to what you're normally used to, but this is what I see in front of me, and this is my completely opinion at the end of the day. And yeah, other ones have different ones, and if you do have different ones, hit them down in the comments below. I'd like to hear different people's interests on the match and thoughts. I don't want to get into debate with anyone, but it'd just be interesting to see what your kind of output is on Chelsea at this moment in time, because I feel like we're just going on a downward spiral. But that is it for this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. Please like and subscribe for more videos, and don't forget to hit that notification button so you never miss a video. Cheers.